shouldn't give up, and you can't give up because the Lord didn't give up on you and me. And the writer says in Hebrews 12, consider him. Take a moment regularly in life. Take a moment in the dark seasons. Take a moment when the trials have seemed to go on too long. Take a moment when the devil's saying to you, God has let you down. Take a moment when the enemy is saying, God has abandoned you. Take a moment whenever the enemy says you're not a child of God at all. Take a moment and consider him. That's what the writer says to do. So he's saying to these people who have left their Judaism behind and come to this new faith that's going through all of this hardship, he said, God always has a purpose for what he's doing in your life. Those trials are proof of his presence, proof that you are a child of God. And take a moment to consider him. Consider him, he says, who endured such hostility from sinners against himself, lest you would become weary and discouraged in your own soul. Consider him when he stepped from heaven down to earth to redeem us. Take a moment to consider when he left the glory of heaven and the worship of angels to be born in human form, to take on humanity, so that he might go to the cross and pay our debt and atone for our sin. Take a moment when he left the worship of angels and he stepped into a world where he was opposed by dead religious leaders and by people who could not understand. He said even to his own disciples, why are you so slow of heart to comprehend and to see? Consider him and take a moment to think about Jesus in the wilderness, the one who spoke the universe into existence, 40 days and 40 nights, bombarded and tempted by the devil, and yet resisting at every point so that he would go to the cross for you and me. The writer says, consider him who endured such opposition against himself, lived to some 33 years, called 12 disciples to follow after him. But at the end of the road, he was sold out by one of his own. He was forsaken by the rest of them. He was betrayed by a kiss. In a garden, he sweat blood through his pores, resisting any temptation to not do the will of the Father and go to the cross for us. And he says, Father, not my will, but yours be done. Consider him when he was whipped, stripped, humiliated, and crucified. But he didn't give up. And he says, now follow me. Follow me. And you and I can't give up this morning because he didn't give up on us. He endured the cross, despising the shame. Folks, the cross, we put it on a necklace, we print it on a t-shirt. It's an emblem of victory today. In the time of Jesus, it was the place of in the world's eye, of defeat. It was the place of shame. The cross meant shame for Jesus. It meant shame for his family. It meant shame for his associates and disciples, for their leader to be nailed on a cross that was kept for common criminals, nailed naked at the side of the road as a spectacle. And yet the Lord of glory, who created all things, did that for me. Lord, keep my heart tender. Fill my heart with love for you. Help us to regularly consider him and all that he went through, so that we might be pardoned, so that we might be forgiven. You and I can't give up, because he didn't give up on us.